Hello everybody, I'm just on with quenching these blades, and I've started with the little paring knife. I've just added up to 815 degrees for 10 minutes, and I'm just going to quench it in the fast quenching oil. I've put some clay on this. I'll show you the other blades in a second. I've done this one exactly the same. I'm going to aim for a bit of a hamon. So let's get it in the oil. That's my new quenching bath. I've just made that. Just made it big enough to get knives in properly. It's been doing okay, my my little oven, heat treating oven. It's holding more or less to 1 degree on the gas, which is, I think it's quite good, that. It's just fluctuating between 1 degree, like I say. Well, there's a bit of clay still on there. Swipe that off. I'm thinking there's a bit of hamon activity happened in there. That is the big blade, the bigger chef's blade. And this is the 75CR1, which is very, very similar to either 1075 or 1080. I'm going to put this one in next when I've just stabilised the temperature. I'm going in with the big spring steel knife now. This is the same steel I made the katana out of. Again, the clay slightly different on this, or the furnace cement and clay. We'll see how it goes. I've just got to warm the clay up first, stop it blistering. Right, I'm going to put these in the oven and get them tempered now. Definite activity. I'm just on with grinding the bevels on the big spring steel chef knife. And so far it's going good. I'm just on this side now. Because this blade's been heat treated and tempered now, it's just critical that I don't get it hot, because if I get this, if I just even slightly heat that edge, I'm going to ruin the temper on this blade, and I won't be able to treat this again, heat treat this again, because it's so thin. This blade would just buckle and curl up. So I think this is going to be a beautiful blade when it's finished. Beautiful knife. I can kind of see the hamon in it already. I could see it in that side as I was grinding it, but I'll just carry on grinding now. I'm almost done on this side. I'm just going to take a little bit more, maybe a few thou off it, just to reduce it in thickness a little bit. And I'm on the grinder. I'm going really slow with very little pressure, so it's taking a long time. And the knife goes into the bucket, into the water after every grind. Here we go. Start sanding these up now. Start with some 400. This could take a while. Okay, I'll start with the spring steel chef's knife. Right, I found out, unfortunately, that if you want a nice hamon in steel, you need to grind the knife as near close to finished as you can, so that after heat treating all you do is sand it up. Because if you grind the bevels in after heat treating, you're going to lose all the detail in the steel, because the hamon, the most activity in the hamon is in the surface of the steel, and unfortunately on this one and the others I've ground the hamon away. So what I just decided to do, I just polished it up. So after I'd finished the grind and polish, I thought I'll try it again, I'll chance it, because by now the blade was pretty thin. So I'll chance it and I'll try and reheat treat it, retemper it again, and the hamon should be active in the surface. Unfortunately, because the blade was so thin, and I think I've said this, by heat treating a very thin blade you run a risk of warping and buckling, and that's what happened with this. It was so thin that the edge went a little bit like bacon, so after tempering I had to regrind again so it's thinner, so I ground the hamon out again. So lesson learned, don't grind too thin, ground your blade to more or less your finished state, and heat treat and sand. This probably isn't the best steel for creating hamon. As I say, W2 puts a beautiful hamon in steel and is probably a lot more forgiving. So anyway, that's a chef's knife. I'm just going to put handles on it, on these. That's the 75 CR1 blade. I've just roughed up the steel there, ready to fit the handle or the scales on it. And this one again, same thing. If you remember, after forging, this blade was really thin, a lot thinner than the spring steel knife. And after heat treating, the edge on this did buckle slightly, and I also lost a bit of the end of it through warping and bending, so I couldn't really straighten the damn thing out. So what I ended up doing was further grinding again and polishing to a mirror finish. That's the blade I've ended up with, the size of blade. It's just a nice slicing sort of chef's knife, really thin. It's about 2mm, tapering down to 0 at the point. And it's ground to a full flat grind with a little tiny bevel on the bottom there. Very, very sharp. They're the handles I'm going to put on it, or the scales I'm going to put on it. It's a bit of spalted holly. And the little paring knife, that one's done. I just again, no real hamon visible in that. There was a little bit at the top, so this 75 CR1 ain't great for hamons, or at least I can't seem to get hamon out of it. I put some, this is bog oak, this wood. It came from a bog, came from a field. Actually, driving around, saw a big piece of old oak lying at the side of a field, so I took that, dried it out, and that's the stuff there. Quite nice. And little paring knife. It's a lovely little thing, just a nice utility knife to have in your kitchen. I am just about done on these knives. They need a bit of a clean up, but essentially they're finished. So you need a bit of a polish, a few marks on them. Mostly bits of oil and stuff off the handle that's on them now. Well, they just need a final polish. That's the spring steel knife. You'll get a proper sharpen. I haven't actually they haven't actually put a proper edge on this one yet. You can see there's portions of it that are cut in. That's the really thin 75 CR1 blade. You can see I've put an edge on that one. This is so thin and slicey, it will actually cut off its own weight, like that. Just yeah, it's a really thin slicey knife, that. Very, very sharp. So what I'm going to do with these knives, I'm going to actually use them in my own kitchen, because I want to know how the handles feel. I've never actually made any chef's knives before. These are the first. I want to know how they feel. I want to know how they feel in use. The little paring knife is going to a friend of mine. He asked me to make that. That'll be interesting to see how this big spring steel knife performs. I really want to make some more of these. If James Lamb, if you're watching, James, I know I said I'd wait and see how this knife comes out, but I'd really like to make you one with a beautiful hamon in it. So I am going to make another one, and I'll try and get you the same knife if you like that, with a nicer hamon. I'm going to probably choose some nicer timber for the handles as well. Not over keen on that, but it will look a lot nicer when it's polished. Sorry, not when it's polished, when it's been oiled. It'll really bring out the colour of the timber. I actually couldn't resist just having a quick look at these and see how they slice. So that's the big spring steel blade. Yeah, I'm not a chef. I believe you hold them like that. Feels nice, it does. A little thin slicey one. Obviously much more slicey. Watch your fingers with these. These are just some carrots out the garden that the grubs have been chewing on all winter. Yes, they cut really nice then. So that's it in a nutshell, fellas. It's the chef's knives done. Get some more made now. I know the pitfalls working with thin steel, trying to get hamons out of thin steel. That's the only drawback with a tool steel knife is rust. So it's not a stainless. This polished surface will stop your knife obviously rusting immediately, but these knives will take a patina on. They'll probably go slightly dark, and I think they look really nice when they've taken on that sort of dark patina, and they shouldn't rust anymore. And they're just a bit more high maintenance. All you've got to do when you finish using one of these is just give it a wipe. You can't go in the dishwasher obviously, because they'll come out they'll come out looking like that old leaf spring as they started. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and put one of these pull cards just here, and I'd just like to thank my subscribers for watching my videos, or anyone else who watches my videos. And I'm going to try putting one of these poll cards up. Ask you if you want to vote to see what videos you would like me to do in the future, and what your interests are, and I'll try and accommodate as many people as I can. It's interesting, the other day I learned that there is, I think it was 50 years of video put onto YouTube every single day. So I'd just like to thank you guys for watching my bits of video. Alright, I'll see you soon.